Dear listeners, as I have told you before, I am making this video in which I will talk about the border. So, around the year 1989, somewhere between March 6th and 7th, I attempted to illegally cross the border. Don't forget, as I told you in the previous video or in the earlier videos, I had a tough military service, and that's when I decided to leave Romania for good. For those who haven't seen that video, I can tell you that because of what happened in the army, beatings for no reason, work with quotas, beyond what a person could handle, we had to dig 8 cubic meters. Very hard, very dense, with the shovel handle somewhere hanging on a rope, up about 1566 feet above the bottom level of the canal. So it was very exhausting work. And on top of all that, there were beatings and humiliations and so on. And all of this made me decide to leave Romania for good. And after I was released, I tried to put this decision into practice. In fact, for those who don't know, so at that time you couldn't leave legally. So I actually submitted my documents legally to the police for legal departure. But you had no chance, so I resorted to crossing the border illegally. Um, Now let me tell you about a discovery of Mamika, so you know that God speaks to people. That's how it was. My mother had a revelation in which she said something like this: not to leave the country illegally, because there will come a time when we will leave Romania legally. And I said, well, I believe all of that. How could something like that happen? Because we were living during the communist times and all the borders were closed all the way to Germany. So there wasn't a communist country that would let people leave and so on. So I made the decision to leave illegally. All right, let me tell you more about Micah's revelation. So Micah had a revelation in which God told us something like this. Um, some will leave Romania legally, so a part of the youth in the country. So there will come a time when the borders will open and some of the youth will each leave for abroad. So a very large part, another part will be laid down in the earth, so they will die naturally, and another part, they will be prepared to get through the critical period that will come over Romania. So God is preparing them so they can get through the critical period that will come over Romania. And I also believed that the borders would open legally. I didn't believe it, so this disbelief cost me a lot. So on the evening between March 6th and 7th, I left Baia Mare because I lived in Baia Mare, and I went to Timișoara. I took a train and went to a town. I can't remember the name of that town anymore. And somewhere near the town of Chennai. Actually, I can say that I wasn't caught at the border. So me and a cousin of mine, Orhat Rayan, went and we wanted to cross the border. That's true, but we were walking along the railway, so near the town of Sene, so we hadn't reached the border yet. We were simply walking along the railway. And the railway doesn't go toward the border. It's actually parallel to the border. I think a few kilometers from the border, maybe 2 kilometers or something like that. I don't think it was more. So we were walking parallel to the border, and suddenly they started shooting with automatic weapons. So right in front of us, about a maximum of 10 meters away, between 6 and 10 meters, 2 soldiers started shooting their weapons without warning us. I finished the army too, so I know what that means. So the law was very clear. First, you have to warn the person and tell them to stop. And if they keep moving, then you open fire. So there was nothing like that. They simply pointed their guns at us and started shooting, and not just single shots, but with automatic fire. So both of them fired on automatic. So in that split second, I only saw blue and green flames coming toward our heads and passing by us. Which, uh, so my cousin threw himself to the ground. He rolled over and didn't stop. They ran further away, but the soldiers didn't notice this. because the railway was somewhere higher up compared to where the soldiers were. So they just opened fire on us without any warning and with automatic gunfire. So at that moment I jumped back because I knew it was trouble. There was no chance to escape at such a short distance. I jumped back, lay down on the ground, and they kept shooting. So I only saw flashes of fire in front of me as they fired, but they didn't hit me this time either. For those of you who saw the hunting video, when they shot at me and shot me, they only hit me with the gunpowder blast from the weapon. But this time they didn't hit me at all, so they fired on automatic and didn't hit me, and I shouted as loud as I could, "Don't shoot, I'm surrendering." They stopped, and they came to me. So when they came to me, they took a few steps. I noticed that my colleague Urhatrian had disappeared because he rolled over the railway and ran away because he knew what was coming since it wasn't his first attempt. So I was at, I think, the second or third, the first time they caught me. They'd caught him before, so he avoided the soldiers since he knew what would happen. I didn't know, so I can tell you that. There were things, so I'll go into details, that you need to understand what life was like during Ceausescu's time and how dangerous it was. For those who wanted to leave Romania and how many didn't make it at the border, killed by soldiers, shot, and so on. But I luckily wasn't shot. And now you might say, well, but why did God allow such a great trial to come upon you? So I can tell you that it's because I didn't believe in his work, because in his work I didn't. Leave Romania because you will leave legally. And when the borders open, the borders will be open for a short time, then you should leave. Why? Because after that they will close again and no one will be able to leave the country anymore. So now is still the period when the borders are open. But I am not advising you to leave Romania. So I am not making this film to change anyone's mind and make you leave Romania. There's no such thing. So because I know there are three groups, one group must stay in the country because they will be prepared to overcome the hardships that will come. Another group has died of natural causes because 30 years have passed, and another group will leave the country legally. Friends who also left, I no longer live in Romania. I am in Germany now. This is my home. What you see is my home. And now I'm going to tell you more about what happened at the border. How God speaks to people even in the most critical situations. Maybe you'll say, God speaks when you quiet yourself inside, when you're in a very high spiritual state, and so on. You should know that's not the case. It's true that we need to be in a good state with God. That's another situation. But God also speaks in the most dangerous situations. So God spoke to me when I was being beaten, and you'll find out right away. So after they shot at us, the soldiers came to me, and when they noticed that my Orhatrian colleague had run away, they both fired shot after shot at him. For those who know what that means, the most dangerous fire at close range is automatic fire. So first they fired at us with two weapons, automatic fire, and then I shouted. They stopped, they didn't shoot anymore. They noticed that one of us, Orhatrian, had run away, and they spotted him from a distance, and they both fired shot after shot at him, but they didn't hit him, so both of them fired shot after shot at him. Shot after shot is the most dangerous, because with every aim, so you take aim, you line up the sights on that person and shoot, it's the most dangerous, because every time you shoot, you line up the sights and aim at that person. So both of them fired, but they didn't hit him because he was running in a zigzag, and they didn't hit him. They didn't hit him. They didn't know then that they hadn't hit him because they were talking to each other and saying, "We'll go look for him in the morning." So they thought they had shot him and he fell down, but he just threw himself to the ground, but he wasn't hit. He only said that he heard bullets whizzing past his head, and then he threw himself to the ground, and those people thought they had shot him, and so they didn't go any further. They said, "Oh, we'll go look for him in the morning." No. And they stood there with their guns pointed at me and waited until the guards came. The guards came. Now, let me tell you, I think there were 4 or 6 soldiers. I don't remember exactly. I think there were 4 or 6, plus an officer, a short lieutenant, solid, well built, solid. And they came, so they beat me. Now I'm going to go into details about the beatings so you can see um, how dangerous their beatings are. So how much they broke the law, how much they broke the law. I tried to find my file after the revolution when it was possible, but they had already thrown them away so that we couldn't take them to court. They took the files from the courthouse and they couldn't be found anymore. So, and I told you I would go into details. Back then, I didn't know why they were only hitting me in one spot. Why? Because if you're angry at someone or you get mad at someone, you hit them wherever you can. You hit their back, you hit their legs, you hit wherever you can. But they were always hitting me from the stomach up, and they were kicking upwards, even pulling up as they hit. I knew why they kept hitting me like that. She, and after a few hits, you would faint. So after that, I don't know what happened. Um, I know that 2 soldiers would grab me, one holding this arm and the other holding this arm, and the other 2 who stood next to them, they kept hitting me like this. So they held me so they could hit me better, and they kept hitting me upwards like this. So I didn't know why. And let me make a parenthesis to tell you what happened, and then after that, I'll continue with the border story. After about 10 or 12 years, I went to the hospital because my liver was always hurting, and I went to a doctor who was the director at that time. But I won't give more details, so you won't know who it is. Asha, not even the years. I'm not sure if it was 12, because I don't want you to know who the director was, so I won't say. So I don't think it's good to say. And I went to the hospital and told them that my liver always hurts, especially when I eat. So after I ate, my liver hurt a lot. And he said, and I also asked him why. The soldiers kept hitting me here and up with their boots. And then the doctor told me, hey, that was a deadly blow. So if you want to kill someone without leaving marks on them, then you hit them like that. So you crush their liver inside them and without leaving any external marks, so you don't see any bruising on the outside. So you hit them in such a way that you crush their liver, you break it because you always strike upwards and break the liver, and there are no marks left. So I knew they wanted to kill me. The Lord was with me. Now you'll see that the Lord was still with me in the most critical situation of my life. I can tell you that this was one of, if not the most critical situation. And I said, Doctor, but what should I do? Look, my liver hurts all the time. It keeps hurting. And he said, they'll tear your liver apart. And now my liver has recovered, but the ducts that lead to the gallbladder haven't healed. They're all going in the same direction, and they're torn, shredded. And so when you eat, the liver produces gastric juice and it doesn't reach the gallbladder anymore. And that's when it hurts because the veins or the ducts that bring the gastric juice get swollen. And I think that's why it hurts. And now let me tell you another very interesting thing also about this, because it's encouraging for many people, and maybe what I'm telling you now will help a lot of you. Uh, After the doctor told me that there was no solution for me anymore, so at the doctor, there wasn't any medicine or anything he could give me to stop my liver from hurting so much. Then I went to the Lord and I said, Lord, the only solution is with you. So the soldiers ruined my liver. Me, I'm in pain. How am I going to live my whole life with my liver hurting that badly? What should I do? And I said, Lord, I went to people. People have no solution, but you have the solution for me. But I didn't receive anything from the Lord. But I said to myself, this is what I'm going to do every time that pain comes. I'm going to pray and say, I'm going to command, I'm going to put my hand on my liver. Now, for those of you who don't believe in healings or those who say that God doesn't work on command or things like that, I'm going to contradict you. This time I'm going to contradict you. You should know that I used to believe that too, but now I don't believe that anymore. So every time the pain came, I said, I'll put my hand on my liver and command and say, in the name of Jesus Christ, liver be healed. And I said this in my mind, Lord, I will say it if I have to. 50 times, 100 times, hundreds of times, as many times as needed, because I have no other solution. So if you don't heal, I have no other solution. So every time the pain came after I went to the hospital and the doctor told me they were deadly blows and that my liver was ruptured and healed wrong, every time the pain came, I would put my hand and command, and now I'm going to tell you, Miracle, how many times do you think I had to command? I'll wait to hear what each of you thinks. Seshti, because after 3 times, the third time I commanded, I didn't feel anything. I didn't even realize the pain was gone. So I commanded 3 times, and after that, the pain never came back. So I simply healed. The pain never came back. Since then, my liver hasn't hurt anymore. Never. I can eat anything, even fatty foods, anything at all, because I have no problems with my liver. So my liver has never hurt again. So God, the third time I prayed, healed me. He healed me without me feeling anything, without God saying anything. So I chose God as my last resort, and He healed me. So I simply prayed, just like the charismatics do, yes, or maybe the Pentecostals too, I don't know. So I laid my hand and said, in the name of Jesus Christ, liver be healed. And the third time when I said it, I was healed. So not the third time in a row, but over 3 evenings. It hurt when I ate, and on the third evening, I don't remember how much time passed between them because it didn't hurt every night, just when it hurt. So I was healed, and since then I haven't had any more problems. Let's get back to the border. So after the beatings, the guards would take you and bring you to the checkpoint. So I was somewhere at No, I can also tell you that when they caught me, they put my hat over my eyes and tied me up, yes, and they blindfolded me so I didn't see anything. I can't say how far it was from where they caught me to the checkpoint. I estimate it was 1, 2, maybe 3 kilometers, but it probably wasn't that much. I think it was about 2 kilometers or a kilometer and a half. Anyway, so from the moment they caught me until the checkpoint, continuous beatings, so I can't really tell you because I was more unconscious than alive. When I was unconscious, I would wake up from the beatings. So I can't really tell you, but what I can tell you is that I didn't hate them. I just can't explain how. So I didn't hate the soldiers who were beating me. At the time, I didn't know the blows were deadly, so I didn't hold a grudge against them, and I didn't hate them at all. So I would simply moan, scream, but I didn't hate them. And this moment, I'll tell you this secret because it's a very big secret for those of you who I hope will never have to go through what I did. But if you do go through hardships, this secret, if you want God to speak to you even in the most critical situations, is not to hate. That's the only secret. Do not hate. So if you can't think anything good, at least don't wish them harm, so don't hate them. So I didn't hate them. I didn't hate them at all, not even for the beatings. And even now I can show you that I didn't hate them. So after I got to the checkpoint, and even before they caught me, I told them that back then it was a big deal to have chocolate. I had chocolate in my bag because I had prepared chocolate. Because with the effort I had to make, you need to eat something. And so I wouldn't have to carry food with me. I packed chocolate and some candies. And after they caught me, the soldiers, I said, hey, listen, I have some chocolate there. Take it before the others come and find it. You take it. They took it, they ate it, but they still beat me. So I can't buy off the soldiers with chocolate, but at least I didn't hate them. After I reached the checkpoint, there were still some candies or chocolate left. I told the others, take them from there because I don't need them anymore anyway, since you already gave me enough tea. But no, I didn't say that. I'm joking now. No, I didn't say that. I said, take them. It's fine. You can take them because I don't need them anymore. And they took them. To show their morality, they'll beat you up, but still take the chocolate. Still, okay, they did the right thing. The chocolate, I gave it with all my heart. So even if they beat me, I didn't hate what happened. So a very nice thing. So if you don't hate even in the most critical situation, and if you are ready for God to speak to you, and at the moment when they were hitting me, I fainted. When I fainted now, I can't tell you how the Lord spoke to me because I know I fainted. Well, what happened, I only know this much, that suddenly I saw a table. So While I was fainting, I don't know how long I was out. Fainted, I don't know, because if you're fainted, you don't have any sense of time anymore. So I only know that from the moment we stopped until we got to the checkpoint, I kept waking up and fainting. And during one of those faints, now, to joke a bit, that's what it was, just fainting. He did it so that I could find peace within myself, because that's when God speaks, when you find peace within yourself. But this time it wasn't me who found peace within myself. Others did it through the soldiers. So I found peace without wanting to. So during the time when I fainted, the phenomenon happened that I found peace within myself. Yes, and suddenly I saw a table, just like at the embassy. I know what an embassy is since I've been to the American embassy. Even though it was during the time of the communists, I ended up there too, and I saw it was just like at the embassy. It's just that it wasn't an office, it wasn't secured, because at the embassy the offices are secured so that the person working there can't be shot or attacked. But I saw a taller table and it wasn't secured, and that surprised me. And in front of me came an older person with white hair on his head, and a very stylish lady with her hair a bit puffed up, very elegant and with big hair. And I gave him various documents, and I know I gave him 3 sets of documents. And with each set of documents I gave to that lady, she was very, very nice. Now, in contrast to what I was experiencing at the border, beatings and so on, the lady was extremely kind to me, and I was giving her documents that weren't the best, and she took the first documents. She would look over them and say, they're not very good, they're not very good. And she would nod her head like that, but she would say, "It's okay, I'll take them anyway." And I gave her 3 sets of documents, each of which had some issues. They weren't very good, and she would nod her head. But in the end she would take them. And the last time, that was very interesting. She took out a small A4 sized piece of paper. Look, I have a piece of paper here too, but this one is a bit bigger, A4 size. She took it out and gave it to me. And on this little piece of paper, there were oak leaves all around, very interesting green oak leaves along the edges. And there was very little written on it, and I wondered what this paper with oak leaves all around and very little writing on it meant. Usually when you give someone a paper or certificate, there's more written on it. But this one only had a longer title and very little written, my name, and just a little about what this paper meant. And of course the soldiers did their duty. They kept beating me. They woke me up, and I was amazed by what I saw. I kept getting beaten all the way to the guard post, and even after that in the guard post, so all night until morning. They stopped and took me, tied my eyes again so I couldn't see anything, and kept bringing me like that, either standing or dragging me on the ground. So you know how it was until in the village, I think at Sine. I can't really tell you because I was blindfolded, I don't know where. They took me to a train station and the police took me over, and then I was taken to prison in Timisoara. Yes, and let me tell you further what prison meant. So there I saw people being beaten like I had never seen in my life, and I don't know if you can imagine it. So there were many students, and they beat the students even harder, but I don't know why. As for me, they didn't beat me anymore, neither at the police station nor in prison. Now I can tell you that I also had some relatives in Bucharest, more influential, and I can say there's no danger in mentioning it. Um, Someone named Seterci, because I have some relatives through this wife, he says that back then we weren't related, but still he helped us. So in the end, I married a relative of this Seterci, so this gentleman was very influential. In Bucharest, my father, they intervened with my uncle, they knew someone there, and anyway. So I was no longer beaten in prison. I wasn't beaten at all anymore, but the other students were still being beaten, so I saw people being beaten on their backs. Blue, like a dark blue, just as it looks now. Now, like how the microphone looks when it's a darker blue. So even darker than that blue now, when it changes and it's a really dark, dark blue. Look, kind of like this, but even a bit darker, just a little bit darker. So from the top on the back, from top to bottom, everything was blue. So there wasn't any area that was red or another color. Like his skin, everything was blue from top to bottom. Imagine that I crushed the flesh on my back. That's how badly they were beaten. So in the cell where I was for about 2 or 3 weeks, I saw uh, uh, batuts beaten with their eyes popped out. And they didn't take them to the hospital. So even with an eye popped out, they didn't take him to the hospital. So these were horrors you can hardly imagine. I'm telling you all this because I don't know who else will tell you, or who else has ever been at the border, or maybe many don't have the courage to say them, or they feel ashamed to talk about such things. But I believe they need to be known. I don't think these things should be hidden. I think they should be known. We need to know what Romania means. And now I want to tell you that on the frontier there were neither Ceausescu nor the big communists from Bucharest. They were just simple soldiers. So what kind of treatments? I mean, inhumane, inhumane. Think about it. At that moment, I weighed 52 kilograms, 52 kilograms, kilograms. Man, Merker, he didn't kill me, but the Lord was with me and saved me, and he even spoke to me about him. So the Lord allows these kinds of trials in our lives. And now the question is why? But let me tell you further, all the way to the end, and then after that, we'll get into understanding what happened. So after what I saw, so you can see that it was fulfilled exactly. So everything I saw while I was being beaten like that, and the Lord showed me that lady and so on, it was fulfilled exactly. I can't tell you how many years later, so I think about 20, 25 years later. I don't know how many years have passed since then. Yes, yes, because it was in something a fost în 1989 in March, and I think 25 years later or 30, something like that, I don't remember anymore. About 25 years later, I came to Germany, and my biggest shock was when I went to, it's called here the Office for Foreigners. In Germany, it's called Ausländerbehörde. Ausländerbehörde. I went there and submitted documents because it was right after the revolution. No, excuse me, right after Romania joined. No, no, before Romania joined the European Union. So it was around 2005. Yes, around 2005. I didn't know any Romanians around here, and I went and submitted documents in Romanian. So I brought the birth certificate in Romanian. And a lady came, her name is Helmish. Now, I don't know if I should mention names, but she's a lady. When I saw her, I was shocked because I remembered what the gentleman showed me at the border. So she was a lady with big white hair and very, very kind. So she came to me and said, "What documents do you have?" She spoke to me in German, which I didn't understand, and refused to use English. I understood some English, but nothing in German. I gave her the documents in Romanian. She was looking at them, shaking her head, saying they should be translated, and then, yes, after that, they spoke to me in English, saying they should be translated. "I don't know where to send you, just leave them, they'll be fine." And I gave them in Romanian, then I gave them my studies. Same thing, they weren't translated. I gave them the marriage certificate. Same thing, so 3 sets of documents, none of them were translated into German at all. And she was nodding, "It should be translated. We don't understand Romanian, but just leave them, they'll be fine as they are." So what happened? After about 6 years, I received citizenship. Cetățenia. That's exactly how it was. An A4 paper with green leaves all around the edges, and it says very little on it. Einbürgerung, meaning citizenship, my name and date of birth, that's all, and a signature, so that's it. So there's very little written on it. I still have it. I still have it. So there's very little written on it. So God, during the communist times in 1989, showed me that I would receive German citizenship. But back then, I didn't know what that paper meant. So God's plan was for me to come legally from Romania and to receive German citizenship, which is exactly what happened. So God speaks to people even in the most critical situations. But let's continue. After I got to prison, I had, I can say, preferential treatment, so I wasn't beaten at all anymore. I put on some clothes, all of them torn, really old, torn, very big and very torn. And I stayed, I can't really say, 2 weeks or 3 weeks locked up there. There I saw people beaten even worse than at the border. At the border, at least, how should I say, they wanted to kill you without leaving marks, but at the police station here they didn't care. They beat you until they broke you everything. They would gouge your eyes out with beatings, and after a few days with your eye out, then they would take you and put it back in. But I didn't get those beatings because I think my father intervened for me, and I know that, so I wasn't given those beatings. Okay. Uh, After I arrived, my sentence was changed from prison to prison at the workplace, and I was brought home to Baia Mare. And I don't remember exactly, I'll say between 5 and 7 or 8 months of prison at the workplace until the revolution, after which I was released. Um, what I can tell you is that God still works and speaks to people today, but people need to pay attention, and even in the most critical situations, God is with us. I'm telling you this because some of you will probably go through critical situations, and you should know that God is with us, and we must not lose hope. Whatever happens, and now, as someone who has been through beatings and in the army and at the border, but the border was the toughest. Yes, I tell you not to be afraid, just as the word of the Lord says, do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but who have no power over the soul. But be more afraid of the one who can throw both body and soul into hell. So we have a spirit within us that does not die, no matter how much we are beaten here on earth. So at the moment when it happens, you don't feel anything anyway, when it hits harder. And you are in your spirit, which does not suffer. That one is not beaten, only your body is beaten. After that, the transition is easy. So you shouldn't be afraid of death. You should be afraid of God, because with God we go beyond death. You might ask, all right, but why does God speak? Do you know why God speaks? So that we put all our hope in Him, so that we put all our hope in Him and know that He sees our future. Now think about the fact that he also saw my future 20, 25 years ahead and showed me exactly what would happen. But think about the fact that the same God also sees our eternal future. He knows what we will do when we get to heaven. That's why it's very important for us to put all our faith in God, to believe that the Bible is His word written for us, and to live by it, so that when we finish our journey on this earth, we will be with Him in eternity. So, this is the reason why God shows us that He is with us even in the hardest moments of our lives. You should know that I have a lot to tell you. If I were to share with you all the revelations and everything that the Lord Jesus has revealed, I can tell you they are in the hundreds. Someone asked me the other day, hey, you keep talking about your life, but how much do you really have to share? Don't worry, I have hundreds. Okay. Well, not right now. That's my goal. My goal is to encourage you so you put your trust in God, to strengthen our faith. You know, that's the greatest thing we can do for each other. To strengthen our faith, to have faith in God with whom we go even beyond death. So it's the same God. I wanted to confirm this for you since I've been through a lot. The same God who is with us in this life, when we think of Him, yes, the same God is also beyond death. So we relate to Him in the same way. He is the same God. He is a good God. He is a good God who is with us, even in the most critical situation of our lives. He is with us and beside us now. Why does He allow these trials? Does He allow them so that we know we have to listen to Him? So God told me through my mother very clearly, don't go because the borders will open. But I didn't believe it. I kept believing. That's why I said, yes, Mom, for the borders to open when everything is closed. So I don't believe that anymore, and my lack of faith cost me quite a lot. Now, I want to draw your attention to the fact that if we don't believe God, it will cost us dearly. If we don't believe that the Bible is His word, you see, one day it will cost us dearly. And just as it cost me dearly because I didn't believe what God said, that the borders would open, and I tried to cross the border, and look, I was caught, beaten, and I went through situations so close to death. I recommend that we believe God and what is written in the Bible. If we put our faith in God and believe that Jesus died for our sins and live on earth as He wants, we will have a happy life in eternity. Thank you for listening to me. I want to finish because I don't want this video to be any longer. It's 40 minutes, 38 minutes. Thank you very much.